Welcome to China Gateway, your front row seat to China's growth, innovation, and global connections.
Today, we're diving deep into Beijing. And it's more than just China's capital city.
Right.
It's arguably one of the most powerful, um, complex, and fast-evolving cities anywhere on Earth.
Absolutely.
Our mission today is really to look beyond the usual headlines,
Yeah.
explore that dual identity it has.
That mix of old and new.
Exactly, how the imperial history, the political power, and this incredibly hot tech scene all kind of converge in one place.
And that dual identity is so important, isn't it? I mean, when global investors or, professionals look at Beijing, they definitely see the political center.
Where the big decisions get made.
Precisely. The seat of government where all major policy starts, but then there's this other side.
Yeah, the city that's consistently ranked right near the top nationally for tech and culture.
So our job today is to frame Beijing for you listening. It's not just a capital city. It's this dynamic, fast-changing metropolis really packed with strategic opportunities.
And using that strategic lens is, well, it's essential. If you want to understand where China's policy is heading,
Which is critical for business.
totally critical.
Well,
Or if you want to tap into probably the highest concentration of talent and R&D resources in the country, well, Beijing is where you start.
it's where that imperial grandeur meets, let's call it modern superpower swagger.
Good way to put it.
Okay, so let's maybe unpack the history first, because Beijing's long history as a capital is really fundamental to how it functions now.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking centuries here.
Way back, right. It was called Dadu under the Yuan dynasty, the Mongols, back in the 13th century. And then it became the main seat for the Ming and Qing emperors. That's where we get landmarks like the Forbidden City, the
Right.
layout of the old city walls. All that comes from that era.
And that history, it isn't just, stuff for the guidebooks. It's really baked into the city's DNA. Well, its layout, the architecture, it's still rooted in that imperial past. And that historical weight, I think, informed its central role in modern China's political shifts, too.
You mean like the 1911 revolution?
Yeah. And then, obviously, the founding of the People's Republic in 1949. Beijing was central to all of that.
But maybe the biggest, most visible transformation, at least for people watching globally now, came with the Olympics.
Oh, definitely. Hosting both the Summer Games in 2008 and the Winter Games in 2022.
Which made history, right? First city ever to do both.
Exactly. And that required this huge, almost unprecedented push for infrastructure upgrades and modernization.
It really changed the face of the city in many ways.
And the Olympics gave us some great examples of how Beijing tackles these massive transformations, like take the Shougang industrial site.
The old steel plant.
Yeah, this huge, sprawling, state-owned steel complex, instead of just, knocking it all down and building apartments.
Which you might expect.
Right. They repurposed it. They transformed this vast industrial area into parks, sports venues, offices, specifically for the 2022 games.
It's a pretty powerful symbol, isn't it, of that kind of state-led transformation, turning old industry into something green and modern.
Definitely. And that ability to centrally plan and then execute these huge projects like Shougang, that brings us right to Beijing's role today.
The political heart.
The undisputed political heart of China, yes.
So this is literally where the central government sits. We're talking the Communist Party leadership.
All the national ministries, the Great Hall of the People, which is kind of like China's parliament building.
And Zhongnanhai.
And Zhongnanhai, yeah.
Which, for our listeners maybe less familiar, Zhongnanhai is really key to understand. It's basically the leadership compound, right? Like the White House complex or maybe 10 Downing Street in the UK.
Exactly. It's the headquarters for the very top political leaders. So when we talk about high-level policy decisions, big regulatory shifts, they're coming out of there.
What's fascinating, though, is how it manages to be the seat of all that administrative power, but also remain this vibrant cultural centerpiece.
Yeah, that balance is striking. You've got Peking Opera, you've got those amazing old Hutong alleyway neighborhoods.
Still very much alive.
Oh, yeah. And dozens of museums, plus multiple UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Temple of Heaven, Forbidden City.
And the mix is just, well, it's remarkable. You can literally be walking past the ancient drum tower, which used to keep time for the city.
Centuries old.
And then turn a corner and bam, you're in this super modern art district or looking at a cutting edge gallery. It feels like you're navigating between centuries, almost block by block.
It's like a living museum that's also sprinting into the future.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
And this ability, this capacity to manage tradition while driving all this innovation,
Yeah.
that's really what makes Beijing such an economic engine. The scale is immense.
Home to massive state-owned enterprises, SOEs. Many are Fortune 500 companies.
Right, alongside a really thriving private sector, too. It's not just state control.
And when we talk about scale, the growth numbers are just, well, they're explosive. Beijing's GDP, it grew over 13 times
13-fold.
in just the last 20 years. That kind of speed, that sustained acceleration, it's actually hard to really grasp.
Yeah, it means the city's had to constantly reinvent its infrastructure, its resource base, like decade after decade.
And those policy decisions made in Zhongnanhai and the ministries, they feed directly into this growth, don't they? Especially when it comes to attracting foreign money.
Absolutely. The city government actively targets high-value, high-tech sectors for investment. They're quite specific about it.
We saw that pretty clearly in the 2023 data, didn't we? FDI, foreign direct investment, hit around 13.7 billion US dollars that year.
Mm-hmm.
And a huge chunk of that went straight into science and tech services. So it's not just general investment pouring in. It feels very targeted, smart capital.
Right. And the city government really facilitates this. Look at the annual Invest Beijing conference just recently. They signed deals for new projects worth over 61 billion yuan.
Which is about, what, 8.5 billion US dollars?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
And explicitly channeling that money into things like AI, advanced healthcare, clean energy.
So you have this active state support combined with a dynamic private sector. That feels like the strategic edge here.
I think so. Which naturally brings us to the innovation ecosystem. Beijing is often called China's Silicon Valley, and for good reason.
The concentration of brainpower is just staggering. You've got around 100 colleges and universities.
Top-tier ones, many of them.
Yeah, and over 1,000 research institutes, all feeding into more than 28,000 high-tech companies operating right there in the city.
And that density of intellect, it translates directly into commercial success. Beijing's nurtured, what, 114 unicorn startups now?
Billion-dollar companies.
Born right there. It's this rapid fusion of research, talent, and available capital.
And the physical heart of this is Zhongguancun, isn't it, over in the Haidian district?
That's the place. It's the nerve center, just packed with R&D centers for China's own tech giants, but also for global companies, too.
Right. We've even seen it become a platform for international collaboration, like that science park launched with Malaysia, focusing on tech and green projects together.
And what's really interesting here, I think, for potential investors, is understanding the dynamics. Okay, the success of these companies is market-driven, sure.
Of course.
But the sheer concentration of high-end talent plus the access to centrally backed R&D funding, that combination is pretty unique.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, doesn't it, how much of the success of those 114 unicorns is pure market force versus how much is, let's say, accelerated by this top-down policy environment.
It's a really distinct investment climate.
And that top-down approach, you see it in how the city itself is run, too. Beijing's pushing hard on smart city initiatives.
Definitely. We're talking citywide 5G coverage.
Which is pretty much there now, right?
Largely, yeah.
Yeah.
AI managing traffic flow in real time, analyzing patterns, and active pilots for autonomous vehicles, taxis, buses.
I've seen footage of those AV taxis. It's quite something.
And data centers aren't just for commercial cloud stuff. They're integral to managing the power grid smartly.
And alongside all this tech, there's a big push on green development, on livability. It feels like an acknowledgement of the toll that rapid growth took earlier on.
I think that's right. The green urbanism push involves planting huge numbers of trees, creating parks and forests.
And restoring those post-industrial sites, like Shougang Park we mentioned, making them usable public spaces.
Exactly. It's part of that Beijing miracle narrative around environmental improvement, showing that strong central policy can actually mandate rapid change for the better, like cleaning up the air.
Which has been noticeable in recent years.
Definitely. And all this commitment to being a modern, sustainable city relies heavily on world-class infrastructure.
Crucial. If you're a professional thinking about moving there or a company expanding, connectivity is everything.
And Beijing delivers. It's got one of the world's biggest subway systems. What is it now, 879 kilometers?
Something like that, yeah. Over 420 stations, moving millions of people every single day.
It's mind-boggling. And then the global links are massive, too. 2 huge airports capital and the new Daxing Airport.
Which is an architectural marvel in itself.
It really is. Plus, this vast high-speed rail network connecting Beijing to basically everywhere else in China. That's how 21 million people move around and how goods and services flow nationally.
Beyond just getting around, what about quality of life? Especially for high-skilled expats or local professionals.
That's critical, too. Beijing has some of China's absolute top hospitals and medical research centers. And the education sector is a giant global magnet for talent.
Peking University, Tsinghua University, consistently ranked among the world's best.
Yeah, top 20 globally, often. Peking University alone has over 40,000 students, and a significant chunk of those are international students.
Which tells you something about the quality and the draw of that intellectual environment.
Absolutely. Add in lots of international schools, cultural institutes. Beijing maintains a really strong international flavor. You've got over 170 foreign embassies and consulates there.
And a pretty large expat community.
Over 100,000 foreigners living there. Yeah, it's quite diverse.
Okay, let's try to put Beijing in a bit more global context. How does it stack up against other major world capitals we might know better?
Good question. Well, first, just sheer size. The metro population, over 21 million people.
That dwarfs Washington, D.C.'s 6 million.
Easily. Or even Paris, which is around 12 million in the metro area. And the growth rate. Beijing grew nearly 59% just between 2000 and 2019.
Wow. Most established Western capitals just aren't seeing that kind of dynamic expansion anymore. Tokyo, Paris, maybe 10% growth in that period?
Something like that, yeah, much slower. Now, in terms of overall financial clout, Beijing probably still trails the absolute top global finance hubs like New York or London.
Okay.
But its strategic role is what really sets it apart. Think about Washington, D.C. It's primarily government, right?
Yep.
And related services.
Yeah, it's very focused.
Beijing, though, it blends that supreme political authority with huge manufacturing capability, cutting-edge tech innovation, and this deep cultural scene. It's this integrated powerhouse model.
And that focus on integrated but also sustainable growth seems to define where it's headed. You mentioned the environmental success.
Yeah, getting some of its cleanest air quality in years, achieved through really strict, fast implementation of policies like cutting coal use.
It shows the power of that centrally directed approach when it comes to long-term goals like environmental improvement.
Right. And this drive for sustainable innovation links directly to the city's ambition, which is clearly to lead the next big global tech waves.
AI, biotech.
AI, advanced biotech, quantum computing. Beijing is actively positioning itself for leadership in these fields.
And this isn't just a domestic ambition, is it?
No, it's international.
Yeah.
They want to extend China's scientific and cultural influence. You see that in things like the Belt and Road initiatives involving tech collaborations.
So if you're doing business there, you're engaging with a city that's aiming for the absolute cutting edge across multiple sectors.
That's the environment, yes.
Okay, so to kind of pull this all together, Beijing really is a city of intentional, powerful contrasts.
That's a good summary. You've got the sheer weight of imperial history sitting right alongside the speed of state-pushed innovation.
You have this incredible talent pipeline from the top universities.
Feeding into major corporate headquarters, both state-owned and private, and this very supportive ecosystem for high-tech startups.
Plus, world-class infrastructure and a consumer market that just dwarfs many European or even U.S. capitals.
Right. It's not just a place to watch policy being made from afar. It's this incredibly dynamic, high-stakes environment to actually build, invest, and operate in.
So the question for you, our listener, is, would you consider doing business in Beijing, given this really unique mix of history, power, culture, and that unparalleled concentration of talent and ambition? It's quite the proposition.
It certainly is. A lot to think about.
This is China Gateway, and we'll see you next time, right here where China meets the world.